It's your boy Flex Money back with another video. Today we got you will never see anything like this again. We got Jimmy High Roller. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like and subscribe. Everything you know about me is in the link down below. What is what I'm trying to say? My Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, all that's in the link down below. But let's get into the video.
They will go to the backcourt and Shepard. James is there.
Look. Just look at the GOAT just doing like. Look at the greatest of all time, man. Look,
second body
got the steal. Like,
turns it over.
MJ would never.
Get it ahead for James. Slaps it over to Kennard. Lakers are down by
chicken
3
wise.
for the tie. It's good. LeBron James is money.
This game-tying bomb from LeBron in Game 3 against the Rockets was a season-defining moment for the Lakers. It led to an overtime victory.
We about to beat OKC. I'm telling you now, we're beating OKC in 6 or 7 games. I'm telling you now, Lakers are going to shock the world, and we're going to beat OKC in 6 or 7 games. Mark my words. Mark my words. You think I'm crazy? You
gave them a 3-0 lead in the series. But for LeBron, this was just another moment in his career. Throughout the course of his 23 seasons in the NBA, he's hit 29 of these go-ahead or game-tying shots with less than 24 seconds on the clock in the playoffs. The next closest active player has only hit 12. The shot itself, in the moment.
And I ain't gonna lie, where y'all be getting the, I'm sorry, I'm too loud. Where y'all be getting the clutch? He not clutch. Like, I generally, y'all just be going with shit and just following, bro. Like, y'all ain't, like.
Under those circumstances was spectacular. But the real anomaly is how LeBron continues to do this in his 23rd NBA season. But just how absurd is this really? Well, 10 seconds before this shot, a 41-year-old LeBron is playing full-court man-to-man defense in crunch time of the playoffs. The player he's picking up from 80 feet out wasn't even alive when LeBron made his NBA debut.
Crazy.
Reed Shepard is being
2004. LeBron made his debut in 2003. That's
guarded by a remnant of an NBA that doesn't even exist anymore. A walking NBA artifact that shouldn't even be in the league at this point. And yet, here he is, about to shut down a player that didn't even exist when he was getting his first NBA buckets. What LeBron is doing right now is not only breaking the limit of what an athlete should be capable of after 23 years in the league, what he's doing right now shouldn't even be possible.
Jimmy High Roller had to do a video. You know it's mind-blowing.
Today's video is sponsored by SeatGeek. Sponsored for deals. Right with Jimmy only on
will never 40. Is easily the best player on the floor. Jordan play at 40 years old. He was easily the best player on the floor at 40. LeBron is 34 years old. He will never be as good as Michael Jordan.
Well, I'd be crazy to say LeBron's going to be the best player this series over Shea. I'm going to just chill.
Was at 40. Michael was 40. And he was easily the best player on the floor. LeBron James at 40 will not be in an NBA game 6 years from now, and we're all going, wow, LeBron against Milwaukee.
I think we about to see some shit that we never thought was going to come again.
He's easily the best player on the floor. I don't buy stats. LeBron will be a tidal wave of stats over Michael Jordan.
For sure.
But I'll tell you one thing LeBron will never be. As good as Jordan at 40. No way.
How old was Bron? Well, how old was Bron when he said this?
This clip from Colin Cowherd isn't from this season. It isn't from last season. It's from 2019.
Oh my God, it's from 2019. Good God, man.
7 years ago, LeBron was only 34 years old. He was 13 points away from passing Michael Jordan on the all-time scoring list. And this entire rant about his future in the league, his fading dominance, and his imminent retirement from basketball was due to the fact that he was going to miss the playoffs for the first time in 13 years. Not only did LeBron go on to win a championship the very next season, but 7 years later, and absolutely nothing has changed. Not LeBron's
this is beautiful, beautiful
game, not how much he can elevate.
I was there. I was in the nosebleeds, but I was there. I seen that shit happen in person, boy.
His game in the postseason. Not even the narratives. Leading up to Game 1 of the Lakers-Rockets series, the future looked bleak for Los Angeles. With the absence of Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, predictions on the series looked less like a breakdown of the potential matchup and more like a farewell to the Lakers and their season. How bad will the Rockets blow out the Lakers? Are they gonna sweep LA? What does Houston's second-round matchup look like? LeBron just spent the last 6 months adjusting to his role as the third option for the first time in his career. And with half of their offense sitting on the sideline, the Lakers' odds were slim to none. And as many times as LeBron has carried his team, as many times as he's defied the odds, there is no way a 41-year-old LeBron is going to miraculously turn back the clock and do it again.
Lakers trying to close out game 2. James with the dunk.
He defied the odds, turned back the clock, and did it again. 19, 13, and 8, 28, 8, and 7, 29, 13, and 6, 25, and 7. One win away from a series win, a game-tying bucket, a lob to his own child in the playoffs. My friends, this is not normal. Matter of fact, this shouldn't even be possible. But after getting out to a 3-0 lead in the series, LeBron and the Lakers are now facing scrutiny for allowing the Rockets to make a comeback. The door was all but closed on Houston after a statement victory in Game 3, but after dropping back-to-back games, that door has now been kicked wide open. And despite being the oldest player in the league who willingly played third fiddle all season long with more miles on him than any player in history, LeBron is now taking the blame. And if it wasn't clear before that LeBron is held to a completely different standard than every player to ever grace the league, it's clear now. Because what LeBron has managed to pull off so far in the playoffs is a contradiction to everything we thought we knew about age and longevity in the NBA. To put into perspective what LeBron is doing right now, here is every player who has played at least 150 minutes so far in the postseason, charted according to their age and their average game score in the playoffs. Game score being a stat that tracks not necessarily how well a player has played, but how productive they are, the good minus the bad. And according to Game Score, despite his struggles, Nikola Jokic has been the most productive player in the playoffs with an average game score of 22.5, followed by Jason Tatum and Karl Anthony Towns. The youngest player on here is VJ Edgecombe, who is just 20 years old and playing meaningful playoff minutes. But overall, there's no real trend going on here. However, there is a real lack of older players. Nearly every player on this chart is under the age of 32, and almost half of them are under the age of 26. The playoffs do not favor old guys, unless you're LeBron, and age simply doesn't apply to you. There are only 3 players on this chart who are above the age of 30 with an average game score of at least 17. 31-year-old Jokic, 30-year-old Kat, and 41-year-old LeBron. The man is literally off the chart, and as it's always been, he is still expected to carry his team through the playoffs. We have never seen anything like this before. We'll probably never see anything like this again. But there was a moment in Game 3 of this series that is so unlikely, so impossibly absurd, that I guarantee you'll never see it again in your lifetime. With 8:45 left in the second quarter, LeBron made this bucket off the glass to put the Lakers up 7. The very next possession, Bronny came off the screen set by his father, and made a 3. On the next possession, the Lakers got out to a fast break and LeBron threw a lob to his son. And then in the following possession, LeBron came down and hit this 3. And to wrap up this entire sequence, in the very next possession, LeBron cut inside for an easy layup. What you just witnessed was a 12-point run by a dad and his son in the NBA playoffs. Now, I know we've become a bit desensitized to this dynamic over the last couple years, but can we stop for just a moment to recognize this man just threw a lob to his child in an NBA playoff game? In a league built off of incredible plays and becoming witness to seemingly impossible things, this is, without a doubt, the only thing you'll never see again. In fact, look around the court in this series, and you will see the reality of LeBron's unprecedented reign in the NBA. The entire Rockets crunch time lineup, Şengün, Jabari Smith, Amen Thompson, Tari Eason, were all in diapers when LeBron suited up for his first NBA game. The Rockets are getting gamed on by the ghost of NBA's past. Pan to the right, and you'll see Rockets head coach Ime Udoka, a veteran who's been coaching in the NBA since 2012. And as many of you might know, Ime once played in the NBA himself, his rookie debut coming all the way back on January 14th, 2004. 3 months after LeBron made his NBA debut. Ime started his NBA career as a player, played 8 seasons in the league, retired, coached Tim Duncan and the Spurs against LeBron in 2 different finals, and has now coached in the league for 13 years, all within the span of LeBron's NBA career. LeBron was getting NBA buckets before him, he's got buckets on him, and he's gotten buckets on his teams. But even the biggest LeBron fans did not expect him to be this good at this stage in his career. I doubt many fans expected him to even play this long at all. Like in this article, where the question is asked, is it time for LeBron to take a step back and let his teammates carry the load? Saying that his decline will come sooner or later, which may have been true and relevant if this article wasn't published in 2017, nearly a decade ago. The idea of an old, withered LeBron, unrecognizable from the dominance we once knew, has been floating around for longer than some players' entire careers. Following the 2019 season, after 16 years in the league, that was a big narrative going around. If LeBron still had it, or if you should call it quits. The very next season, LeBron won an NBA championship, bouncing the Rockets out of the playoffs and forcing them into a rebuild in the process. In fact, the Rockets team we see today, 6 years later, is the product of their rebuild at the hands of Bubble LeBron. And here he is in 2026 to blow it all up and send them into another rebuild. The man has been so dominant for so long that teams have been assembled, built up, torn down, built back up again, and on the verge of being torn back down again before he even lost a step. The man has been doing this for a very long time. His first playoff appearance was all the way back in 2006. In fact, it was in that same season when he took this photo with a couple of young Rockets fans. 2 kids excited to meet an NBA superstar and one of their favorite players. But that kid on the right, he isn't just any young NBA fan. That's Knicks star point guard, Jalen Brunson, when he was just 9 years old. By the time Brunson was in 4th grade, LeBron was already regarded as possibly the best player in the world. He had just finished 2nd in MVP voting and made the postseason for the first time in his career. It was a series against the Washington Wizards, where a 21-year-old LeBron averaged 35, 7, and 6. For every graphic or stat you'll see showing LeBron setting records as the oldest player to accomplish something, if you go back far enough, you'll see a fresh-faced LeBron in a graphic featured as one of the youngest players to accomplish something. It was in the following season where LeBron took an underwhelming Cavs team to the finals as a 22-year-old in a postseason run so dominant that writers were already calling that time in NBA basketball the LeBron era. Long before podcasts and YouTube, Bill Simmons was covering LeBron's ascension to NBA royalty, and he also deemed this time as the LeBron era. Articles and write-ups so old you have to dig through archives just to find them, featuring quotes like this one after LeBron's legendary 48-point bomb against the Pistons in 07. If you care about basketball, you'll remember where you watched this game 20 years from now. But Simmons was wrong. A lot of fans don't remember where they were when LeBron had this performance because they weren't born yet. Nearly 20 years later, and the fans that do remember it are watching him do it again. There's no precedence for what LeBron is doing. There's no history of any other player coming close to this caliber of play at this stage in their career. There's hardly any comps to even put this into perspective, but I'll give it my best shot. Throughout NBA history, there have only been 6 players to play a playoff game past the age of 41. Forget being a serviceable player. Just seeing the court in the postseason at this age is a miracle. And here are all 6 of those players in terms of their average playoff game score after they turned 41. Udonis Haslem only played 3 minutes in the postseason past the age of 41, so he actually had a negative game score. Kevin Willis, 1 point.
I just checked the Spurs score. A Minnesota one. Spurs, have a problem.
1 rebound per game. Good for an average game score of 0.3. Robert Parrish was good for 3 and 2 a night. He saw the court for a couple minutes a game in the postseason and had an average game score of 2.4. And then there's Dikembe Mutombo, who was an actual contributor in the postseason past the age of 41. 3 and 6 a night in 8 games. Good for an average game score of 5.1. But it is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was once the gold standard for longevity in the NBA. At 41, Kareem defied the odds, started every game in the postseason, and averaged 11 and 4, with an average game score of 6.4. The best old guy the NBA had ever seen. Or at least, he was, until LeBron grew old. and set a completely new standard. Apologies for the wait. He should be coming up here soon. There he is. Oh, wait. Not yet. And then there's... Oh, shoot. Sorry. We're not there yet. There he is. And then there's LeBron, who has completely shattered our concept of longevity, and 20 years after his first appearance in the playoffs, remains one of the best basketball players on the planet.
Golly. Go, nigga. That's the GOAT. Alright. Sorry, I tried to say that. W. Jimmy Howard, that was a good video, man. If you're new to channel, goddamn. Man, if you're new to channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, man. We just watched him talk about the greatest basketball player of all time. Better than Michael Jordan, better than anybody. LeBron James is the GOAT. If you're new to channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, make sure you fight somebody about.